All right, awesome. All right, guys, welcome to this webinar on how to live your purpose, even if you feel stuck right now, and transform your mindset so that's one in alignment with success. Today, what we're going to be covering is how to figure out your purpose and start living it. We're going to go through the ABCs of goal setting, which is an exciting one, the confidence mindset formula, the resourceful mindset principles, and the systems for successful living. So got a lot in store for you today. So I hope you're as excited as I am to be presenting this. Who is this training for? This is a really important kind of thing to think about. It's for optimists who feel stuck, who want to transform their mindset and take more action. Basically, a while ago, I figured out that I was an optimist, but I was always really stuck. I always had all these big ideas of what it was that I could do. But for some reason, I wasn't making any meaningful progress. And I found out that optimists are sometimes very unrealistic about what it is that they can achieve in what time period. So they're always being way too optimistic, and therefore they weren't getting what they wanted done, and they were kind of over exaggerating what they thought their skills were. So they'd get very frustrated. They think they could do something and they go after it, be a bit harder than what they thought it would be, and they would give up. So I started realizing that optimists are positive people, but a lot of them at a certain point, they get to in life where they just feel stuck and they're not able to move forward. So if that feels like you, then you're in the right place. So it's really for people who want to find purpose in their lives. They want something meaningful. They want to do something amazing with their lives. They want to start confidently taking charge of their world so that they can have an amazing life. And they really want beneficial relationships, like very mutually beneficial. They want to really give to the people around them, and they want to have people around that they really like the presence of. And they really want to make some changes. So my name is David Keith Turner, and I am a mindset transformation coach. I'm just going to give you a bit of an introduction into who I am and what it is that I do so that you can understand where this information is coming from. So I'm an accredited life coach. I overcome chronic fatigue syndrome, which I had for about 17 years through the material that we're going to be going through today. I've spent over $35,000 in personal development. So as you can tell, I'm a bit of a personal development junkie. Has studied a lot of programs, a lot of books, had a lot of coaches, gone to a lot of trainings, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my passions. So I'm also a bit of a fitness enthusiast. So if you've seen me on Instagram, you've probably seen me posting things from going for runs, going to the gym, playing tennis. I love time with my friends and family. I'm very family and friends orientated. I've got a very select group of people that I love spending time with. I've also written an ebook, which is up in that little corner there. You can probably see that little picture of me, which I'm pretty proud of that one, I'm not going to lie. So I'm also an online mindset transformation coach. So I do it through online. I don't really do it in person. I do it online. And I'm also the creator of the Get Unstuck program, which I'll be telling you a little bit about today. And I've also had about 200,000 views on Instagram video reels. Now, that sounds like a little bit of a brag, but I kind of realized that people were liking what it was that I was doing. So eventually I decided that, yeah, all right, maybe I'll do something with this. Maybe I'll start sharing more of my views, more of the things that I was learning. Now, we all want to be successful in a way that means something to us. Everyone wants their version of success. At the end of the day, that's what we all want. And I love the way that Earl Nightingale put it back in the 60s. He said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Now, what does that mean? An ideal is an idea that we've fallen in love with. So it's something that we really want, and we've actually fallen in love with it. So anyone who is actually progressively working towards something that they really want, they're a success. I'll never forget one day sitting down with my dad after I'd started studying all this material. And I asked him, what 3 words would you use to describe yourself? And growing up, we didn't really have that much money. We didn't go to fancy restaurants. We didn't have Ferraris and super nice cars, but we did have a roof over our heads. We had a nice house, you know, full of love, full of support, encouragement. But I never really saw us as living successful. I didn't think we had the things that we needed for success. And the first word my dad said was successful. And I was like, hang on, what? He's like, well, I'm a tennis coach who's been coaching for 40 years, and I absolutely love it. I married the love of my life. I've got 4 happy, healthy kids who I love. They love me. We all get along really well. I live in this nice house. I've got a healthy body. He's like, I'm a lot more successful than a lot of the people I know. And I stopped and thought about it for a second. I'm like, he's completely right. This is his version of success. And he's one of the happiest people I've ever met. If you ever meet my dad, it's like he'll take you out on a tennis court and he'll give you tennis lessons for free. He absolutely loves it. He's been doing it for 40 years. He doesn't sit there and complain about it. He loves it. So we've got to think for us, what is our version of success? And hopefully through this training, you're going to learn a little bit more about what that looks like for you. Now, if you're not living this way, it's not really your fault. It's not. There's a lot of negativity that surrounds us. That's on the news. We've got pessimistic people around us trying to bring us down. We've got all the things that are happening in the world, all the situations that are around us right now that are telling us we can't do amazing things because we've got so many other problems to deal with. Now, it gets really difficult to live a successful life when that's happening around you, when those around you don't think success is possible, when you don't have access to the right resources to help you. I mean, a lot of the time people think, oh, if I had the money, I'd be successful. If I had this. When you feel like you're lacking the resources, it's really difficult. And when you feel that you're being time poor, that you have no energy left at the end of the day to move forward, it's really difficult to have that progression in your life. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to live this way. You have the ability at any point in your life to choose how you spend your time, what you give your attention to, and where you want to take your life. You have that choice. If you look at animals going around in the world, they don't have that choice. A dog doesn't sit there and think, I really want to be the best good boy that is possible. So I'm going to, decide to do that. They don't really have that choice. Everything that's happening around us is just doing what it's doing. We actually have choices, but it all begins with a committed decision that you want to live your best life, that you want to go after some big worthy goals, that you want to spend your time in meaningful ways. So maybe you're skeptical of mindset transformation. Like the whole concept at first when I heard it, I'm like, what? That sounds a bit weird. There we go. So maybe you think that it's a little bit weird. Like maybe you think that you don't have time to spend on your mindset and just sit around thinking about what it is that you want. Maybe you think that it's woo-woo or part of some weird cult. Some of the positive mindset thinking stuff can be a little bit overwhelming and unrealistic to a certain degree. Or maybe you're scared to invest in yourself as you need to know a tangible outcome to justify it. Maybe you don't want to invest that time. Maybe you don't want to invest that money. Maybe you don't want to put yourself in those situations where growth is going to happen to you. Maybe you don't want to take those risks, those opportunities. Or maybe you're just scared to let go of the old version of your life because it's comfortable. We don't find what we want generally in our comfort zone. We find it on the outside when we take risks, when we take chances, when we bet on the surest thing in the world, which is ourselves. Now, so why even try to transform your mindset and change the way that you think? Why even put in the effort? Why go to something like this? Why read the books? Why figure out what your goals are? To have the things you've never had, you must first do things you've never done. I want you to think about that for a second. All the good that comes into your life that you didn't have before, you did something that you've never done before. And because of that, now you've got it. Now, when you look at the things that you really want to bring into your life, you're going to see that there's things that you've never done before, that if you did them, you'd be able to acquire it. And as Albert Einstein says, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. We have to level up our mindset. We have to level up our level of skills, the way that we think, so that we can actually see our problems from a different perspective, with more enlightenment, with more education, with more knowledge of ourselves, of the world. If we decide that we're just going to stay the same, we're going to have the same thinking and we're not going to be able to move forward. Now, this was me at age 31. So this is a bit of the sad story of where I was at when I first got into all this mindset transformation. I was addicted to 3 strong prescription painkillers for pain and sleep. If you're a bit of a healthcare professional and you know what Lyrica, clonazepam, and temazepam is, I was on them for 6 years. So it was not good. I was very addicted to those painkillers. I never had any money for the nicer things in life. Whenever we went out places, I'd always have to check my bank account balance to make sure I could afford it. I'd have to, not say yes to the things that I wanted. I remember having to cancel trips when I was sick for a week, and that had pushed me over the edge to not be able to go on the trip because I just didn't have the money. I was always stopping and starting projects without really ever finishing anything. If you've ever started a couple of projects and you've perpetually done that and not been able to finish them, you understand what I mean, how frustrating it is. I was hating my work as it was so hard for me to do with no energy. Being sick and having chronic fatigue syndrome was just a horrible experience. Now, I was sick for at least a week every month. So I was only able to work on average about 24 hours a week. So limits your money, limits your energy, limits what you can do besides even going to work. I was suffering from depression and anxiety. I was angry at the world. And I was thinking that it was all against me. I thought I was a victim, that the world was playing a cruel joke on me to give me the parents and the support that I had, but not the body and mind to be able to execute. I was broke with no assets or money, had no self-confidence or self-belief. As you can imagine, when you're that sick and you're that depressed, it's very hard to feel confident about yourself or that you believe you could do much better. And I was really too scared to back myself. I didn't think I was going to be reliable. When I was saying yes to things, in the back of my mind, I was like, you're going to let this person down. You're not going to be able to do this thing. It was a horrible place to be. So I had big dreams still, these things that I had in my mind, these images, but there was no action that was actually bringing them into existence. And the breaking point for me, and I've spoken to a few people about this, because they have that moment in their life where everything has to change. And that for me was when a partner that I was dating at the time said, I can't be with someone who has already given up on life. In that moment, I knew I had to do something different. If I wanted to have the things that I really wanted, which were getting married, having kids, having a nice job, having a nice house, being able to explore the world a little bit, I was going to have to change. And at that point, I'd given up. I'd given up on trying anything new. I thought that this was my life and I was doomed to live it. So I did what any normal person would do, I suppose. I Googled self-help seminars, and that's where everything for me changed. I met this incredible lady at this mindset kind of event, and everything that she was talking about and how the mind works suddenly started making sense to me. She started talking about how when you think a certain way, it creates certain feelings. Those feelings create actions, and those actions create results. But we've been programmed. Our mind is like a program. It's got all these ideas running through it that are constantly telling us who we are, what we're capable of. And it's that level of belief and that programming that's always going to control our lives. But there are ways in which you can transform that. You can change it. You can make it better. You can upgrade the programming. So after talking to her for a little bit, I made a huge investment of $8,000 at the time to work with her for 6 months, because I was at that stage where I just knew I had to try something different. And my life changed so drastically, so quickly. It was like going from night into day. Within a short period, I was able to work full-time hours and still have energy to see my friends on the weekends. I remember working full-time for the first time. I went for a run on that Friday night. And when I got back, I felt amazing. And I just remember crying, tears of gratitude that I'd actually, after 17 years, been able to get to this place where I could finally start living my life. I actually had a chance now, and there was so many more opportunities available to me. Through that, I was able to buy my ex-partner out of the house that we had and turn it into an investment property, even though when we bought it, I only put like $5,000 in, she put like 70. So to do that, I got my parents' help, which was amazing of them, and I was able to take over the loan. I made new incredible friends, meeting at these events, and just all these, energized people started coming into my life and wanting to be my friend. It was amazing. And my health and energy drastically improved. I put my income up by about 50%, which is pretty cool. Most people, if you said, hey, I'll give you a 50% pay rise, I'd take it pretty quickly. I started getting new opportunities at work because I started having energy and I had a better attitude. So they started giving me more tasks to do, and I started expanding what my role was, so that enabled me to earn more money and get more pay rises. I started believing myself and taking actions, and I bought my version of a dream car, which for those of you who might know what it is, it's a Holden SV6 sports wagon. First time I ever saw one of them, I thought that is one of the coolest things ever. And I also knew at the time I would never have one. So when I walked into the lot and actually was able to purchase it, I was pretty ecstatic. I'm not going to lie. After that, I decided to do what every person who suddenly has a new lease on life does. I started posting about it on Instagram. Now I wanted to motivate other people to do the things that I was doing. I did lose a few friends in this period. I had a couple of negative friends at the time, and we were wallowing in self-pity. And when I suddenly was talking about how amazing the world was, they weren't really up for it. So as you go through this process, a few people will come out of your life, but amazing people will come in. Then after that, I decided to up my game. And during COVID, I started putting on a few webinars talking about this stuff. I had to figure out how to do slideshows similar to this and talk on camera. And I really enjoyed it. So it was an amazing experience. After doing that, I realized, hang on, maybe I want to be like a mindset coach. Maybe I want to take this to the next level. So I kept upping my game. If I was really going to do this, I was going to need to know how to learn how to actually do it. I mean, it wasn't just going to fall into my lap. So I started doing accreditations in coaching and going to events that were around coaching and learning these skills and doing online courses and reading more information. And after learning how to coach, I started actually doing it. And this is a message I got from my first ever paying client after working together for, I think it was about 5 weeks. And she sent me this lovely message. And as you can tell, I screenshot it and I saved it, because whenever I feel low on motivation, I remember what it is that I'm doing and the amazing results I can help other people achieve. And after doing that, I just kept learning more. And eventually I built a website. I started doing more one-to-one coaching, and eventually wrote my own group program and got clients into it. And some of them just wrote me some lovely letters afterwards of how it changed their life and how they enjoyed it. So, which was amazing. And through the process of me coaching them, developing the program, they increased their sense of purpose and clarity. They gained more confidence. They increased their self-belief. They had pay rises. There was more harmonious relationships with the people in their lives. They started connecting with other people who were doing similar things. They found other people in similar businesses. And it was just an amazing experience to see them just go up that level. So with all that in mind, I'm not telling you all this to brag. I'm just telling you because when you change the way that you think, there's so much more possible for you. And when you get involved in material like this, it opens up the world. And I want that for as many people as possible. And that's part of my mission in life, is to do that. And today we're going to jump into this masterclass, and we're going to go through a couple of different topics. So we're going to go through how to figure out your purpose and start living it, the ABCs of goal setting, the confidence mindset formula, the resourceful mindset principles, and the systems for successful living. So I hope you're really excited, as I am. And I hope you're enjoying it so far. Now, let's jump straight into purpose. Everything has a purpose, including you. But if you look around your room and you look at the desk that you may be sitting on, you look at the laptop, you'll realize that everything is there for a reason. Your pen, sand, trees, everything has a purpose in life. If it didn't have a purpose, it would cease to exist. There'd be no reason for it to be there. But everything has a purpose, including you. There is something that you are uniquely designed to do. Just like everything around you has been shaped by other people, other things, other forces to become useful, you too have been shaped through your past experiences, what you're naturally good at, your interests, and the people that you can serve. So Napoleon Hill said it best when he said that there's one quality which one must possess to win, and that is definiteness of purpose, the knowledge of what one wants and a burning desire to possess it. Now, if we think about that for a second, how many people do you know that have a burning desire to achieve great things? Do you have a burning desire? Do you wake up each morning feeling like, yes, today I get to work on my goals, on my dreams. I get to fulfill my mission. I get to have experiences of life. Or do you wake up thinking, oh, not today. Can't be bothered. When we connect to a purpose, when we find what it is, that is what enables us to win in life. That's what enables us to feel driven, motivated, and excited on a day-to-day basis. When we're not connected to that, we procrastinate, we waste time, we complain, and it's just not a good thing. So if you want to try and find your life purpose, here is a very easy way to identify what it is. You look at the experiences that you've had in your life. What are the most meaningful experiences that you've had? For me personally, I dated a girl for a while and she had a 1-year-old daughter. And while we're living together, I had the most incredible experience of raising this child. Now, I'd never been around kids before, but I was able to do so much more in that period of time than I'd done in so long beforehand, because I had something meaningful. There was something that was driving me. And if you look through your life, you'll find that there's some times in your life that you were doing something that was meaningful to you. It was filling you with energy and drive and motivation. So if we look at what those times were, it's illuminating part of what your purpose is. For me, it was showing me, I want to be a dad. I want to have a positive impact on the people around me. I want to take people and help give them something that they couldn't get without me. And if we look at some of the positive and negative experiences we've had of life, we start to see how we've been shaped. Through having chronic fatigue, it was a horrible experience, but that part has taught me so much humility. It's taught me how to really be compassionate towards other people. It's taught me how to look after my health. And some of the positive experiences that you've had in your life have also really shaped who you are. Now, if you think about some of these experiences, you're going to start to see that, hang on, no one has had these experiences besides me. No one else in the history of life has ever had the same experiences as you, which is part of what makes you so unique. We also have natural interests. So it's what you're drawn to doing. If you've got free time, what do you find yourself doing? What are you always making time for, even when you're really busy? When you start to illuminate what that is, it becomes really clear to you, hang on, there's something unique about me and what it is that I desire to be doing. For me, it's mindset transformation. I love studying courses. I love going to read my book outside. I love going on online events. So whatever you're drawn to, it's part of your purpose. And then you've also got your natural talents. There are things that you are naturally good at that you didn't have any control over. You might be really good with your hands. You might be really good at talking to people in public. You might be, I don't know, an excellent listener. There's something that you're abnormally good at that you maybe haven't developed that much just yet. Maybe you haven't given it the time and attention it needs, but there's some things that you're naturally good at. So if you start looking at them, you start to see more of how your purpose is going to be lived through that. And there's also people around you. Who do you desire to impact? Everyone has people in their life that they can have an impact on that no one else can. If you're married, it's, your friend down the road or something isn't going to be the person who comes over and raises your kids and teaches them math at night. No, that's up to you. You've got your parents. The guy 3 doors down isn't going to come look after them when they're old. There are people in your life that you have the ability to serve. For me, it's other people who have a bit of a trouble with their mindset and they have that depression and they have, some struggles. I can help them. I've also got like my parents. I desire to help them. And as we're looking at all this, we start to see what it is that we want to do with our lives. Now, when you look at all of these different elements and you put them together through your experiences, your natural talents, your natural interests, and the people you want to serve, at the center, you'll find there's a purpose that you alone can fulfill. No one has had the same experiences. No one has the same talents, interests, and people that they can serve like you do. There are so many other mindset coaches out there, but none of them have had my experience. None of them have had the teachings that I have specifically. None of them have the same natural talents or the natural interests. And they don't have the same group of people that they want to serve. For me, I want to serve optimists. Other mindset coaches might want to help people with their weight loss. You are so unique that you've never existed before and you probably will never exist again. And because of that, there is something that is unique to you to live out. Now, a tree doesn't get to decide its purpose. All the things around you, they don't get to decide. This coffee cup has no choice in what it does. It's all up to me. But you have a choice. You have a choice how you live your life and what you choose to do with it. And through this process, I'm hoping that we can help you illuminate what that choice might be for you right now. So if we think about what it really is, your purpose can be said to be your guiding star, the aiming point at which you direct your life's efforts. It's an individual orientation that brings meaning to your past experiences, utilizes your natural talents and interests, and provides you with people to serve. And it creates a strong drive within to overcome future obstacles towards its fulfillment. So your purpose has an element of feeling about it. When I think about the people that I really want to serve and how important it is that I show up each day and do my best, that fills me with a drive that enables me to overcome obstacles. The more I got connected to this idea of, I really want to help these people, That became my burning desire. I really want to be there for my parents. That became part of my burning desire. That's the thing that fuels people. When they wake up in the morning and they've got that drive, they know what it is that they're doing, why they're doing it, and who they're doing it for. And if you ask yourself, what is my purpose? What is it that I really want to do with my life, that I want to give my life meaning? Why is that? Why is it so important that I do well on a day-to-day basis? If it's not important for you to do well, you'll be so open to distraction, procrastination. But when you know how important it is and you can feel it, that brings on a power that you just can't really get from anything else. Maybe coffee, a little bit coffee. And then if you think about who it is, that really just ties it all together. I remember the story of Brendon Burchard when he was writing his book, and they'd just gone bankrupt, him and his partner. And he was trying to write this book because he thought if once he got it finished, he'd be able to make some money and get them back into, their home and so forth. And one day she came in and saw all these bills on the bed, and not wanting to disturb them, she climbed underneath the sheets and went to sleep. And he came in and he saw her sleeping under all of his bills, the woman he loved. And right in that moment, he decided, I'm going to get this book done for the woman that I love. I don't care how hard it is, how much time I need to spend on this, I'm getting it done now. He'd been distracted beforehand, but suddenly he had a really powerful purpose, a really driving reason to finish that book. And after he got that done, it ended up being a New York best time seller, and he got it done a lot quicker than he was making progress beforehand. I'll tell you that. So we all want it. We all want three things. We want to live, we want to love, and we want to matter. We want to live a life full of experiences that are meaningful to us. We want to live our purpose. We want to have those experiences that are really important to us. Those messages that I get when clients send them to me saying how amazing this result that they've now gotten is. It just, for me, that's living. For me, spending time with my family, my partner, that's living. And then we want to love. We want to know the people that are important in our lives, and we want to give them love. We want to have those loving experiences with them. We want to love our work. We want to love the people around us as fully as we can. And we want to feel like our time here mattered. At the end of the day, when we cross over to whatever happens next, we want to sit there and go, I feel that what I did with my time here mattered. I'm not just passing on into the abyss with not making any impact on the world. What I did with my time here mattered. And unfortunately, most people tiptoe their way through life, hoping to make it safely to death. That was a line I heard once, and it really woke me up. I'm like, am I playing it too safe? Am I letting situations and circumstances control what it is that I go after? And if that's the way that you're living right now, you want to try and find your purpose and allow yourself to get emotionally involved with that idea. So why don't you feel connected to it right now? Most of it is because you're worrying about the worst that could happen if you try. You're worrying about what other people will think of you if you go do something different to what you've been doing. You're feeling trapped by a current situation. Maybe you've got a job that you have to keep working at because you need to pay the rent, whatever it is. And maybe you're consuming too much content that's distracting you. It could be Netflix, social media. I think we've all fallen victim to that at some point. And maybe you're feeling like a victim. Maybe you think that the world's against you, that you can't win, that everything's too hard, that successful people have got something you don't, and it's unfair that they've got it. Any type of negative thinking about the world and that there's nothing you can do about it, that's going to take you away from your purpose. And in one word, it's all complaining. It's all saying, I can't do this. These people are going to say that. This is too hard. Anytime you're complaining about life, you're fighting against purpose. Now, most of the most miserable people I know, they're always just complaining. They're always saying what's wrong with the world, what's wrong with other people. And whenever you're in that state of being, it's really hard to connect to something meaningful. So the answer to feeling connected to your purpose is gratitude. It's one word, but it encompasses so much. It's being grateful for your experiences. I remember the first time I wrote down on a piece of paper, I was grateful for having chronic fatigue syndrome. It's one of the most powerful moments in my life. Suddenly I realized, hang on, through this experience, I've learned so much compassion, humility, learned about health and fitness, learned about mindset. I'm so grateful for having chronic fatigue syndrome. Now, for most people, that would be difficult to say. I'm grateful that I had this bad experience, but it's shaped you into the person you are. It's given you what you have right now to be able to win in life. It's grateful for your natural strengths, your interests, the people around you, and your challenges. Most people are always complaining that they have challenges. And I've had to switch my thinking on that. Instead of saying, oh, now I've got to go figure out how to do email marketing. I'm like, I'm grateful that I get to do that because it's going to allow me to reach more people. Might sound like toxic positivity a little bit there, but it's true. If you're in a grateful state and you're grateful for your journey, you're grateful for the purpose that you've been given, you're going to feel more loving, you're going to feel more positive emotions, and you're going to be able to tackle it through that emotional state. And it's really just being grateful for getting the chance to be you. It's amazing that you get to be you. How cool is it that you get to be you? With all the things that you've gone through, you get to be you, and that's amazing. Now, when we're talking about this, I want you to realize that finding your purpose should not be rushed. It's not something you can knock out in 5 minutes. It's something that you need to think about. You need to go through those past experiences, those natural talents and abilities, and think, what could I use all this to create in my life? What would be amazing for me to do with this? It shouldn't be rushed. It's something that might take a little bit of time. And it's really helpful to get someone like a mindset coach to ask you some really important questions so that you can figure it out. Each of us has an individual experience of life, so it's not something that other people can decide for us. Someone else cannot tell you what your purpose is. You have to figure it out for yourself. You don't find out whether you like sushi by sitting in a room and someone telling you you like sushi. You go out there and you eat some sushi and see what it feels like. It's the same with your purpose. You've got to get out there and start figuring out what it is. So here are some questions to ponder to help you illuminate what your purpose is. So I'd love for you guys to take a screenshot of this, however you can on your laptop or your phone, and answer these questions at a later date because it encompasses everything that we've just spoken about. When have you felt deep sense of meaning in your life? What pains have you experienced in your life you don't want others to have? What experiences brought you great joy that you highly encourage others to give a go? I love recommending people go do park run. I absolutely love it. I have such a great time. I always encourage people to read books because I get such a great experience out of it. And you've probably got something that you recommend to people as well. So what are you really interested in? What natural skills and abilities do you have? And who could you really help? If you sit there and really ponder those questions, really in depth, you're going to get very close to finding what your purpose is. Now, goals are the orientation of our purpose. Purpose gives us our what, our why, and who, but goals give us specific targets to aim at to fulfill that purpose. I like the analogy that a life without a goal is like a game of basketball without a rim. So you can throw the ball up and you can run around, you can pass the ball to each other, you can have a good time. But if there's no ring to aim for, you don't know if you're winning or not. You don't know if you're scoring. There's not really an objective to it. And you lose a bit of momentum, you lose a bit of enthusiasm because there's no reward. There's nothing that you're actually shooting for. Now, there are 3 types of goals that people set generally. And this is where I really want to get into this because this is a very important concept to grasp, the ABCs of goal setting. There are 3 goals that people set. So A-type goals are what we already know how to do. And this is, for example, I got my weight to 85 kilos at one point. And then I lost that weight and it came back down to like 81. And then I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to dedicate myself to getting back to 85 kilos again. The problem with that as a life goal is there's no growth involved in it now. I've done it before. If you've done something before, there's not going to be anything new that you're really going to learn. There's not much personal growth involved. Now, you can have a think about this. There's things that you've accomplished in your past and you might want to do them again. I'm not saying don't try and lose the weight or gain the weight again. What I'm saying is that should not be your focus. You've already experienced the growth from that. When people move away from A-type goals, they go to B-type goals. And this is what we think we could do. So we sit down and we go, okay, if I did A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I could achieve this. So we sit there and go, well, if I wanted to buy a house, I could work this many hours, I could do this, and I could do this, and I could invest here or whatever. And it's all the things that we think that we could do, and we can see ourselves achieving that result. Now, the problem with that is there's not much inspiration involved. It's not generally big enough. It's not something super exciting to us that we're sitting there looking at and being like, oh my God, this would be amazing. It's just what we think we could do if we did all the things we think we should do. That's basically what it is. But a C-type goal is what we really want, but we have no idea of how to accomplish it. It's something that really excites us. We think about it and be like, oh, how amazing would it be to be a mindset transformation coach who's earning heaps of money and impacting millions of people around the world. And when I had that thought, I'm like, I have absolutely no idea how to do this. And I got scared. And most people do. If you sit there and ask people, what do you really want? If nothing was impossible and you could do anything you really wanted, what would you choose? And that's what a C-type goal is. It's something that we've never done before, and we don't really have any idea of how we're going to accomplish it. But it's really fun because we get to figure it out. We get to go for something really big and exciting. Now, when you're going for C-type goals, there's 4 different categories. I encourage people to try and think about what they could do if anything was possible. So you look at what are some of the personal goals that you might, something that's just for you. It might be an amount of money that you want. It might be a nice home, a relationship, a child, but it's something just for you, something that's really exciting that you really, really want. That if you ask yourself, if I could have anything, that's what I would choose. Then you move on to having a look at your professional goals. So it's to do with the service you want to provide in your career or as a full-time parent. Because for some people, they don't want to work. They want to have a child and they want to raise that child. It could be a mother, could be a father. That could be their professional goal, the thing that they want to spend the majority of their time working on. So you have a sit there and think, if I could have any job or any career, what would I really love to be doing? And we think as big as we possibly can be. When I sat down and did that, it was really interesting and really exciting because I started realizing, oh my God, I've got these big ideas within me. And I started getting excited. I started getting a little bit scared, but that's all part of it. And once you move on from that and you sit there and you think about what it is that you really want, you can also look at a toys, fun, and adventure goal. So this is to do with travel, maybe a car, an e-bike. I know a lot of people love them these days. A set of clothes that you really want that maybe are a bit expensive, or maybe it's an experience. And you sit there and think, what are some of the experiences or toys that I would really love to have? Would I like to maybe go to another country on a trip? Would I like to have a certain car? Would I like to have those clothes? So you sit there and think about what it is that you really want that's big and bold. That's really what you want, not just what you think you can have or what you already know you can have, something that you really want. And then you move on to contribution, some kind of charity or group that you really want to make a difference for. So this could be volunteering. It could be any kind of difference that you want to make to a group of people that generally is outside of your family and friends. So it's a group of people that probably don't have the chance to thank you or give back to you, but it's just someone that you really want to impact because through all of your experiences, you've seen that these people are someone that you could really help and make a difference to. So if anything was possible and there were no limitations, what would you choose in each of those areas? That's a really fun idea and an exercise to sit down and go through each of those areas and ask yourself that. Now, the reason that we've stopped going after our dreams is because most people have lost their ability to dream, to think big and to believe that they're capable of much more than they're currently doing. When we're a child, people keep pushing us. When we were a baby, people push us to walk. They sit there and they encourage us. Come on, you can do it. Get up. When we go to school, they're like, you can do this. You can learn math. You can learn how to write. And they keep pushing us. But once we get to a certain age where we're able to work, we're able to function in society, we're self-sustaining, people stop pushing us. There's no real reason for us to grow anymore. Now, if we kept the same rate of growth that we had from when we were a baby to when we were 10, and we kept going, oh my God, we could accomplish so much. But the problem is we get to a point where people say, yep, you're kind of done now. You're at that level that you need to be. Everything else from here is optional. And that's why we stop growing, because the people around us aren't growing. It's estimated that 1 in 20 people are living the way that they want to. And that's not good. So we've got 19 people around us who are probably influencing us to just get to that level and stay put. So to understand this, we really need to understand how we've been programmed. A lot of us don't realize that our mindset is stuck at a certain level. That's why they call it mindset. Wherever your mind is set at, a certain amount of money, a certain weight, a certain job, whatever it is, we've got a mind that is set at a certain level. So if we want to upgrade or up level our life, we're going to have to realize how to reprogram our mind so that we're in a different mindset. Because our brain is essentially like a supercomputer that runs thoughts and programs constantly, and the quality of how it's programmed controls the results it produces. We're basically like a laptop, and we've got all these programs running in the background that are doing things, and we don't really have much control over it. We just click on the button and say, I want to open Microsoft Word, and it runs the program. For you, when you're sitting there and you're driving a car, you don't have to think to yourself all the time, how do I drive a car? You're programmed to do it. You hop in, you put your key in, you don't even have to think about it. You've got that program running in your mind. Now, we think about 60,000 thoughts a day, and they are in harmony with the way we're programmed to think. When we think about that, it's like, well, if we've been thinking for a very long time, we can't win, we can't do any more, I don't have the skills, whatever it is, that's just continually going through our brain, and it's continuously creating the program to run, so that's what we're going to get. It starts being programmed from the moment we are born by what is going on around us. Whatever you were told as a kid, if you were told this is blue, or let's say this is pink, you didn't have the ability to disagree with it. Now you know that it's like a greeny color, but when you're a child, you didn't have the ability to reason with that information to say, no, mum, money is good. No, I can be really healthy. I can be really fit. Whatever was going on around you and whatever was being told to you got programmed. Now, Bob Proctor, who is the guy who I studied a lot of his material, he utilized this image called the stickman concept to understand how we've been programmed. And we're just going to go through that for a little bit here so you can understand how this whole process works. We have our conscious mind, which can be called our thinking mind. We have the ability to think. We have the ability to take information in and think about it. But then we have the subconscious mind, which is our emotional mind, which is in charge of our doing. So when we were saying before about when we're operating a car, we think to ourselves, yeah, I want to get up and go to the car. And then our emotional doing mind takes over and just does all the actions automatically. The way that we walk there, the way we put our key in, the way we slam the door, whatever it is. Now, our conscious thinking mind is only responsible for about 2 to 5% of our behavior. So when you have a thought to yourself, okay, I want to pick up that cup, or I should get up and go do the lawns, that could be the thought that you have initially. But 95% of our behavior is responsible through our subconscious mind, through our programming. So if we're not programmed to be on time, to be early, to look after our health, it's going to be really difficult. We can have the thought, but it's not going to actually influence our behavior. Now, the way that this kind of works is we have our sensory factors. Everyone has the ability to, not everyone, but most people have the ability to see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. So we look at our world around us and we see things, we hear things, we smell them, we taste them and touch them. And that goes into our mind. We look at this and we go to ourselves, well, that's green. I can see that. So I see that that's a coffee cup. Now, as this information is going in, sometimes we're looking at the wrong thing and it's controlling what goes into our subconscious mind. We're looking at our bank account and we're seeing it doesn't have the right amount in there. We're looking at it and thinking, that's not enough. I'm broke. I'm never going to have any money. Looking at our body in the mirror and saying, I'm overweight. I really want to lose weight, but it's just too hard. It's too difficult. Now, as we're going through this process, what we need to understand is our conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject information. Everything that's going into your mind right now, you have the ability to accept it or reject it. I can tell you that this pen is blue. You can have a think for a moment about what you know about pens and what you know about colors and go, no, that's red. Now, the problem is a lot of the time we're looking at information that's coming in and we're accepting it. We're saying that that's how it is. That's how it's always going to be. We're looking at our body and thinking, I'm overweight. No one's going to like me because of this, and it's not going to change. I could do something, but my experience over the last 10 years of seeing myself in this mirror is that it's not going to change. So if we want to start changing our lives, we have to start using our mind to change what we're accepting and what we're rejecting. Now, the way that this all comes together is all this information comes into our conscious mind through our senses, and that creates our thinking. We look at the bank account, we see the number. That creates in our body a feeling, I don't have any money. I'm not going to be able to earn enough. Whatever it is that's happening through your sensory thing and going through your thinking, it creates that feeling, and that feeling creates the emotional state of your body. And once you're in that emotional state, you take actions that are in line with that thinking and that feeling, and it creates a result. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the time, it's what we don't want. But then we experience something called the report card syndrome, which is we then look at our result and it further solidifies our thinking. There was this guy who was, I think he ended up being like an entrepreneur, but when he was at high school, he wanted to take the SATs. Well, his mum wanted him to take them, and he didn't want to do it because he was not doing well at school. And she said, please just do it for me. And he's like, fine, I'll go do it. And he was not a very good student. But when he did the SATs and he got his result back, he got a 1300 out of a possible 1460. And suddenly he looked at that and he's like, oh my God, I haven't been doing that well in school, but maybe on this like kind of more general test, I'm actually a lot smarter than I thought. Maybe I've actually got a chance. And he started changing his behavior. He started going, well, I'm going to turn up to classes. I'm actually going to learn. Maybe I'm a bit smarter than what I am. Anyway, over the coming years, he went to college and he ended up becoming like a successful magazine entrepreneur. 13 years later, they sent him a letter saying that only 13 people in the whole country had been given the wrong score. He'd actually gotten a 600, which is not that impressive. And he was asked later on what changed for him. He's like, it wasn't that suddenly I was a 1300 score. I started thinking and believing that I was. From the moment I had that, it changed how I thought about myself and what I believed I was capable of forming. Unfortunately, most people are just getting the same result. They keep seeing it and they keep repeating this loop. So one of the things that all the successful people in the world, the entrepreneurs, the philosophers, the great teachers have all decided on is that we become what we think about. They've just disputed everything else, how to become successful, how to make money, how to get love, whatever it is. They've all disagreed on virtually everything else. But what they all agree is that we become what we think about. And if we're thinking 60,000 thoughts a day and they're not motivating, if they're not uplifting us, then there's a chance that we're going to become something that we do not want. And we don't have a choice whether we get what we want or what we really do want. It becomes a matter of what are we thinking about on a day-to-day basis? What are we looking at and accepting as real? What are we thinking about? If we want to change the results in our life, we need to cut out these sensory factors. We've got to stop looking at the results that we're currently getting. And what we do is we begin to originate a new idea. We think to ourselves, okay, if this is my purpose and these are my goals, I really want this. We start using our mind. How can I do this? How can I do this? And we start imagining ourselves achieving what it is that we want. And we start originating that new idea. And we keep feeding it. We keep saying, yes, this is my purpose and I can do this. I can do this. This is who I am and I can do this. And over time, that thinking eventually starts seeping into our subconscious mind, which is in charge of our doing. And it creates new beliefs and new programming that starts running. And suddenly we start accepting this idea of, hang on, yeah, I could do this. I could do this. I could actually accomplish this goal. I could live out a purpose that's really meaningful to me. I could do something I really enjoy. And because of that new emotion, we take a new action. And because of that new action, we gain a new result. And the more that we do this over time, we keep originating new ideas of what it is that we want. We shut out the rest of the world and what's going on. We forget about what's going on in our bank account. We start seeing that number going up. We start imagining the life that we really want to be living. And over time, the more we do that, the more it programs our subconscious mind and we end up with the results that we want. In our conscious mind, in our thinking mind, we've got some mental muscles that we can use to make this happen. We've got our ability to reason. We can take in information. Again, I can say that this is red. And you can think about, the information you're getting, go, from everything that I know, I can reason that that's actually green. I can reason that this guy is lying to me. He's being dishonest in this moment. So we can look at our problems and we can reason instead of why we can't, we can reason why we can. We can sit there and look at our bank account and go, I know that's not the amount that I want, but I know there's a way that I can make more. We can use our sense of perception, which is our ability to see things from a different place. Napoleon Hill used to have this exercise where he'd take the problem that he was having, he'd write it on a sheet of paper, put it on a table and pass it to different chairs. And he would go sit in different chairs and imagine how a different person would view that. He'd sit there and go, now, how would Henry Ford look at this problem? How would Thomas Edison look at this problem? And we have that ability. We have the ability to see things from different angles. We can see how something can be done where before we didn't see it. We can use our memory. Our memory is our ability to remember information. So when we've got, things coming through our mind, we remember that that is the color green. We can remember, this is my goal. This is my purpose. And if we keep remembering what it is that we want, we keep burning it into our mind. This is what I want. That's not what I want. We can make smarter choices and decisions in certain moments. And willpower. Will is self-discipline and the ability to focus. Your mind has the ability to hold images on the screen of its mind. Most people use their willpower against themselves. They try and force themselves to do things. But the proper use of your will is to imagine what it is that you really want and keep holding it on the screen of your mind. Even when the senses around you are telling you, no, this can't be done. This isn't for you. We don't have what we need. You can use your willpower to go, no, I know it's possible because of these reasons. So you can keep that idea on the screen of your mind. Now, you've also got intuition, which is our intuitive factor is our ability to kind of just know things. There's things that you'll kind of hear other people saying, and you'll just be like, I don't really know why, but I agree with that. Or you might even feel like, I don't know why, but I disagree. I feel like this guy could be lying to me. This person's being dishonest, whatever it is. But you've got that intuition. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but your intuition speaks first and your programming speaks second. So when you have a thought, should I do this? Your intuition will speak first. If you ask yourself, should I quit my job and go after that career? Your intuition will say yes or no. Now, it doesn't really care whether you go bankrupt or end up broke. It just wants you to live your fullest life. So your intuition speaks first when you ask yourself questions, and then what you think is possible for you speaks second. And now you also have an imagination, which is your ability to build beautiful images in the screen of your mind and picture what it is that you really want. Now, most people have stopped using their imagination. When they were kids, it was okay to imagine things. But when we get to being an adult, the idea of imagining what it is that we really want and giving our time and energy to it, that's usually shunned upon. You're supposed to know how you can do things. If you don't know how you're going to do it, people say, well, if you don't know how you're going to do it, then you shouldn't be trying to do it. But unfortunately, they don't understand that everything that we have was first drawn up in someone's mind. Before we had this pen, someone imagined it in their mind before we had it. Before we had this coffee cup, someone had an idea and they saw an image in their head and then they brought it into life. So your imagination is your ability to create the life that you want. So when we were a kid, we didn't really have any choice of what went into our program to start off with. We didn't have the ability to reject information that was wrong. If our parents told us that a certain race of people were bad, we didn't have any reason to disbelieve what they were telling us. If they said money was bad, it's hard to be healthy, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. If they said any negative things that went on around us or positive things, it just went straight into our mind. We didn't have these mental muscles that we've got now to reason with this information. So unfortunately, in our subconscious doing mind, we've got a lot of programming that's lodged in there from when we were very young, before we could think, that is controlling a lot of what we do. I know for me personally, it was very difficult for me to accept the idea that money was good, that it was great to have some of it. Because growing up, I heard that it was the source of all evil. It was a bad thing. But now I'm starting to realize it's also what can give, my family the life that they want. It's what gives me food. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have any control over what went into our subconscious mind when we were a kid. We learnt the language that we learnt the political beliefs and, cultural beliefs that were going on around us. So if we want to change our life, we're going to have to work at using our marvelous mind to start thinking of new ideas and start impressing them into our subconscious so we can replace what was going on negatively in the past. And it basically just works like this. Your thoughts create feelings, your feelings create actions, your actions create results. So whenever you alter that process and you put in new thoughts, that creates new feelings, that creates new actions, that creates new results. And then those new results start reaffirming to yourself, yes, I can do this. So we're going to go through a little bit more about what you can do to solidify this process, because it's really important. If you look at your life and you look at it over time, as you can see that bottom part there, the actions that are caused by your positive emotional state lead to success. So if you're thinking thoughts that are in alignment with what it is that you want, your purpose, your goals, and how you can achieve them, over time, that emotional state is going to lead you to success. But unfortunately, the opposite is true. If you allow negative thoughts to come in, if you look at the world around you and it tells you things are bad, things can't be done, and you allow that to control your emotional state, over time, you're going to lead towards failure. And that's not good. That's not what we want. So there are two ways to change the program that we've got set inside of us. One is an emotional impact. So it's when a smoker has a heart attack and then suddenly it's like, that's it, I'm never smoking again. It's when you go through a breakup and you decide, no, that's it, I want to live a life of purpose. I want to go through all the things I need to live the life I want. Whatever it could be for you, everyone's had an emotional impact that at a point in their time. Now, they're usually negative. They can be positive. Like you might find out your partner's pregnant and be like, that's it. I need to really go after my career and really make a difference because I don't want this kid to grow up how I did. Whatever it could be for you. But unfortunately, that's a little bit unreliable. The more reliable way to do it is to look at constant spaced repetition of a new idea that overpowers the old program. It's basically where you keep repeating, you keep bringing the image of what it is that you want onto the screen of your mind over and over and over and over again until your conscious mind accepts it as real. Your mind doesn't have the ability to determine what's real and what's not. That's why sometimes when you have a dream and you wake up and you're like, oh my God, did that really happen? Why? Because you saw such a vivid image of what it looked like. And if you can sit there for a certain period of time every day and keep seeing the image of what you want, I can see money coming into my bank account from the amazing services I'm doing. I can see my health improving. I can see these different images. And you keep repeating that over to yourself. I believe in myself. Over time, eventually that comes into your subconscious mind and replaces the old limiting beliefs that you had and enables you to move forward. So now I want to touch on confidence, because that's something that a lot of people come to me with that they've got issues with. I would make these changes if I had the confidence. Now, confidence is the feeling or belief that one can have faith in or rely on someone or something. It's just a feeling of certainty that you've got within yourself. Like if I say, can you run 100 meters in 20 seconds? You just go through what you know about yourself and go, yeah, I'm confident I could do that. Or you look at what you know about yourself and be like, I don't think that's possible. If we start looking at our programming, we can start to understand why we do or don't have confidence in certain situations or areas of our life. It becomes really, really obvious because we'll realize, hang on, I'm not programmed to do that thing. There's the reason I'm not confident because I've heard so many times that I can't have that. I've told myself that. I've seen it in so many different forms. I've looked at my bank accounts. I've looked in the mirror. I know that I can't have that. Now, building confidence is an inside job. It's something that you do within your mind first before it's expressed outwards. Now, we don't want to aim for the whole fake it until you make it kind of situation. We want real confidence. We want the kind of unshakable belief within ourselves that we are able to do what it is that we want to do. So I want you to stop for a second. And possibly in the comments, I want you to write, if you could develop your confidence in any area, which would you choose? If you could be more confident, is it in making money, at work, in your relationships? Is it in going to the gym and working out and being healthy? In which area would more confidence really improve your life? So just take a moment to think, and you can put it in the comment section below. It'd be interesting to read what you guys wrote. So how can we develop this confidence? There are 3 areas that make up our overall confidence in any area. And it's really interesting once you know that our confidence levels are determined by our knowledge of a certain thing that we're trying to do. So let's say that we want to get healthy and fit. How much knowledge do we have about exercising, eating well? How much knowledge do you have? That's going to determine how confident you feel. How many skills and abilities do you have? Do you have the ability to go to the gym? Have you done it before? Is it something that you're quite familiar with in terms of the processes that are involved? And what is your experience? What is your experience with that situation so far? Has it been good? Has it been bad? Have you had lots of experiences? Have you gone into the gym multiple times? If you have a lot of knowledge, a lot of skills and abilities, and a fair bit of experience with something, you're going to be pretty confident that you can do it. Now, unfortunately, most people don't have confidence in the areas that they want, and that's because they don't have that knowledge. They don't know how to do what it is that they want to do. They don't know the exercises they're supposed to be doing. They haven't been to the gym before, so they don't have those skills. They don't know how to use the machines. They haven't had the experience of going, so they don't feel confident that it's going to be for them because there's a lot of unknowns when it comes to tackling that problem. There are 2 types of knowledge that we want to gather to build confidence. So the first is intellectual. That's like in the conscious mind. We want to know, how can I do this? When I wanted to build the coaching business, I thought to myself, what knowledge do I need? I realized, I'm going to have to know how to coach. I'm going to have to know how to ask the right questions. I'm going to have to know how to run a session. I'm going to have to know how to write material to send to them. So I started realizing all the things that I was going to have to know to be able to build my confidence in that ability. But then the second part, which is even more important, is the knowledge in the form of a new empowering belief about ourselves. There is absolutely no point to learning a whole bunch of information if you do not believe that you can execute it. I mean, we all know how to do so much more than we're doing, but it's not coming down to what we know. It's coming down to what we're going to do, which is because of our subconscious mind. And if we look at it, the intellectual knowledge is responsible for 2 to 5% of our behavior, but the knowledge that we have about ourselves and what we're capable of is responsible for 95% to 98% of your behavior. Someone once said that success is 95% mindset, 5% strategy. And it's true, because if we've got the mindset that we can do something, we're going to get it done. If we don't, it's not going to happen. We can have the best plan in the world. I've come up with plans for going to the gym that I've never followed through on because I didn't really believe that it was possible for me. Now, when it comes to skills and abilities, for us to effectively improve our skills and abilities for confidence, we need to answer just a few questions. What specific skills do I already have, and what do I need? It's an interesting question. All right, well, if you're looking at going to the gym, what specific skills do you already have? Have you used the treadmill before? Do you know how to lift weights? Do you have an exercise program that you followed before, so you know some moves? But what do you need? Well, maybe you need some more nutritional information. Maybe you need to develop the ability to go to the gym on a regular basis. Maybe you need to learn how to use certain machines. Where can I learn these skills, or from who? That's an interesting question. Can I look online? Do I need a personal trainer? When it was time for me to build my coaching, I had to look for, where can I learn these skills? Who? I had to look for courses that I could study. I had to look for different processes, for different questions to ask people. And what actions can I take to improve my abilities? This is a great question. What actions can you take to improve your abilities? If it's going to the gym, well, the action's probably just getting to the gym. Maybe it's booking in with a personal trainer. For me, it was joining a course. That was the action I needed to take. And then if we look at the last area, experience, what experiences in the past can I draw from to build my confidence? If you want to start going to the gym, you can think about all the times that you've been before, all the times that you've exercised, the times when you've lifted weights at home, when you've done, I don't know, some kind of HIIT workout or yoga at home. And if you start thinking about these and realizing, hang on, I've done something similar before, that'll start building your confidence for you to know, hang on, I've done something similar. When I wanted to do the course in coaching, I realized, hang on, I've done a couple of coaching sessions with friends just when I started learning all this material. So I started drawing on that experience. And how can I gain more experience? Well, probably going to the gym, probably having that trainer. For me, it was joining those courses. So when we look at those 3 areas together, the knowledge, the skills and ability, and the experience, we start to realize that confidence can be built by us just thinking our way through it and finding a systematic way to improve it. So how can you use it? Confidence is what we want to feel when going after an opportunity. So most of us are sitting there, we're not saying, I want confidence in this thing because I'm never going to use it. No, we want that confidence because we've got a goal in mind, something we want to do. So what we're really doing by building knowledge, skills, and seeking experiences is getting prepared for opportunities. I heard this saying once, which was, luck can be defined by what happens when preparedness meets opportunity. The more you build your confidence in any area, when those opportunities come up, you're going to take them. When you start doing the exercises, maybe there'll be a gym membership deal that comes up, and suddenly, because you're feeling a little bit more confident, you'll take it. For me, as I started realizing what I really wanted, I saw an opportunity come up on Facebook for a coaching course, and I was ready. I was ready because I believed in myself. I had a confidence that I was actually going to be able to utilize it. So I signed up for it. And that's what the beautiful effect is of building your confidence. So to start building it, start gaining more intellectual knowledge through books, podcasts, or programs. Just start looking. If you need to do something, okay, if I want to get fit, that's it. I'm going to start listening to some podcasts on it to get some information. I'm going to maybe buy a book. Maybe I'm going to sign up for a program on how to lose weight in 50 days or whatever it is that they've got going these days. Start looking at the information that you can get and start participating in it actively by taking some of it in from all the sources that are available to you. Decide what knowledge you need about yourself. What knowledge do you need to know? Do you need to know that you're worthy of going to the gym, that you can afford it? What knowledge do you need to know? Figure out what skills and abilities you need to develop. This is really crucial. If you want to be confident, what skills do I need to bolster here so I can feel really good? And seek out those experiences that give you the chance to learn and grow. Now, keep in mind that although confidence is an inside job, it's not something that you need to work out alone. I love the saying that you've got to do it by yourself, but you can't do it alone. If you really want to work through this process and it seems too difficult, that's what confidence coaches are for. That's what friends and family who have done this before are for. It could be what a personal trainer is there for. Whatever it is that you want to gain that confidence, you don't have to do it by yourself. There's other people to help you. Myself personally, I love working on helping people develop their confidence and going through this process with them. So if you want to have a session with me, I'm going to put a link in at the end. Everyone who's participated gets a free one-hour session with me, which is an opportunity to maybe build on that confidence. If you truly want to start working on building your confidence so you can live your purpose and take more inspired actions towards your goal, you will find much quicker results by finding others to help you. Keep that in mind. Now, it's time to get really resourceful. We want to start using a lot of the information that we've learned and what we already know and what's available to us to start leaning towards success. So if you want to find your purpose, if you want to figure out your C-type goals and to build that confidence to take inspired action, there's some steps that you can take right now. Most people start thinking, oh, well, I don't have this, I don't have the time. We've got to push that out of our mind. If we want to get the results we want, we've got to start using what we've got available to us to achieve it. So take a moment and think about the resources that you have available to you, both externally and internally. Now, a lot of people don't realize this, but you've got a laptop, you've got a phone, you've got so much information available to you. That is a resource. There's so many courses, YouTube videos that you can seek out. Those are resources. But then you've also got ones internally. Those are the things that you know how to do right now. So you can start drawing on them. Start asking yourself, what resources do I have? Maybe I've got some confidence. Maybe I've got this ability to ask people for help. Maybe I've got the ability to work well with my hands. Whatever it is that you've got internally. So you've got the external and internal resources. So start looking at what those are. Find podcasts, books, teachers, YouTube videos, and courses to help you. That is all available to you for free. Most of it. There's so many courses available. People say, oh, I don't know how to make money. There are so many free courses on that you can start watching and learning. And you can start using your intuition to feel which ones feel right for you. And develop a healthy relationship with the word sacrifice. When people want to start changing their life, they start telling me all the reasons why they can't. And I realize that they need to sacrifice those excuses. They've got so many things in their life that they're doing right now that if they stop doing, they'd have time for it. Sacrifice literally means sacrificing something of a lesser nature for something of a higher nature. It's giving up Netflix for listening to a podcast on something that you really want to accomplish right now. It's sacrificing drinking out with your friends for a night in building your business. A lot of the time, people don't want to do it because it's the short-term loss, but a long-term gain. And successful people who are living those really big lives, they're happy to sacrifice those little things because they know what they really want is to fulfill their purpose in life. They want to go after those big goals, and that's more important to them than drinking, Netflix, whatever it is in their life. So become resourceful by starting to realize some of the things you need to stop doing so you've got that time, so you can get that time back and actually go after what it is that you want. Now, going through all this, I kind of came up with a bit of a way that you can utilize it. So first of all, get clear on your purpose and keep repeating it to yourself daily until the desire takes over. Once you start having an idea of what it is that you want, keep exploring it on a day-to-day basis. This is what I want. This is why, and this is who it's going to help. The more you do that, the more you're going to build your motivation, your increased desire, and that's going to help influence what you do. So you take the time to really ask yourself what you want to accomplish. Most people don't do this. It's like, take a pen and paper, and if this is all you did for the next week, you would gain so much. Just write down, what do I really want? And just write out your life, how you would like it to be. I actually have a card that I keep on me at all times, which just says all the things that I really want. And I read that constantly. Why? Because I need to remind myself, this is what it is that I'm working towards. I don't want to be distracted by all the things going on around me. I want to keep tunnel visioned on what it is that is important to me. Start developing confidence in the areas you observe you need a lift. So have a look. What do I want to gain confidence on? And start using that step-by-step process to increase it. And then lastly, find teachers or mentors, coaches, or anyone you know who can help you with your journey. Again, you do not have to do this alone. There are people who have done what it is that you want to do in some respect. Go find them, ask their opinion, ask what you could do, ask for their help. That's why people come to me as a coach. They've realized, hey, you transformed your mindset, you quit your day job, you're now doing what it is that you love on a day-to-day basis. How can I do that? The reason they come to me is because I've done it before. It's something that I can help people with. And if you want to live a truly exceptional life, that's something that you need to be able to utilize. So I hope that you guys are with me so far, that you're feeling a little bit excited about what we've spoken about. You're starting to knock some ideas around in your mind about, what do I really want? How could I build my confidence? What podcast should I be listening to now? Now, there's a possibility also, because we covered a lot, that you're a little bit overwhelmed. There's a lot of information. I love giving value, so I've tried to cram a lot into this session today. Now, you really do have two choices. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't possibly share everything with you that I know on how to transform your mindset. It'd be like a month-long webinar. So I've created an amazing offer for those who want to take the journey to the next level. Now, number one is you can go off and try this alone. You can listen to this over and over again, this recording, which will be sent out. And that's a great starting point, because you'll start to get some ideas flowing, and you'll start to realize the power of your mind and what it's like when you change what you think about. But it's likely that over time you'll get distracted, you'll stop thinking about it, and it'll become an idea that you eventually neglect. When we take in information, we've got three things that we do with it. We either accept it and we knock it around in our mind, say, yep, that's true, I'm going to action that and I'm going to use it. We reject it, which means we go, no, that's not going to help me and I don't want to have any part in it. Or we neglect it, which means that we accept it as real, but then we don't give it any more attention over the next week or two, and eventually things go back to normal. You've probably been to an event where you got really pumped up and you felt great, and then you're all excited about what you're going to do afterwards, and eventually the motivation weans off. Why? Because you're not repeating the ideas anymore. They've gone out of your mind. So the second option I've got for you here is you can learn what works from my personal journey and all the studies that I've done, and I can help you find your purpose, build your confidence, and change your programming so you are guaranteed to experience the change that you seek. So those are basically your two options. You can go on by yourself, or you can have a look at what working together might possibly look like. Now, your first thought is probably, okay, the training was kind of interesting, but what would working with a mindset transformation coach actually focus on? Which is a good question. I get asked it a lot. So you're in the same group of people there. What I do is I run a 12-week live group training program called Get Unstuck. So it is 12 weeks where we go into a lot more of the concepts that I've spoken about today in great depth, and it gives you a chance to actually utilize what we've talked about and learn, so that you can each week progressively find your purpose, live your values, and experience what your goals are going to be. So this is something that I've done once last year, and I did a shorter version of it the year before, and the clients got some amazing results. So I really enjoyed it, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about what it looks like. Over the first month, this is what we cover. We first go through the first week, which is finding your purpose. So we talk about how you can find your why and connect to what truly matters. Some of what we've spoken about today. We then go on to living your values. So how to live a life that you really enjoy by doing more of what you love. Every one of us has got a hierarchy of values, something that we find most important to least important. For me, I discovered that mine are personal development, and teaching, health and fitness, and intimate relationships. So whenever I'm living my life in accordance to them, I feel amazing, because those are the things that I really like. I've got lower values, which are complaining and watching TV and just kind of sitting around and not doing much. Whenever I live that way, I don't feel so good. So what we want to do is illuminate what your highest values are. What's most important to you, so you can tie it in with your purpose and your goals. And then on week 3, we talk about worthy goals and how to set those big, exciting goals and that really excite you, even if you don't know how to get there yet, which is very important. Because a lot of people won't let their mind go to that place of the C-type goal. They'll kind of start thinking about it, and their programming brings them right back and says, nope, that's not for us. In week 4, we go through the steps to success, which is how to plan your goals out so you know exactly what steps to take, which is very important because a lot of people set these big goals and we sit there and we break it down. If we want to get to this big goal, what are some of the steps that we could take? And once we start illuminating them, we suddenly know what we're going to be working on a week-to-week basis. And then in the second month, we start working on paradigms and programming. So that's what's controlling our subconscious mind. What beliefs we have deep stored in there? What do we believe about the world that's going to happen to us because of all of our experiences we've had so far? And we go through how to reprogram your mind so you're able to break free of limiting beliefs. In the week 2 of month 2, we go through the Believer Achieves, which is how to build unshakable belief in yourself and your ability to attain your goals. So that's a lot about confidence and trying to feel really amazing and just trying to see what it is that you actually believe about yourself and how we can swap that around so you feel just a little bit more confident. And in the self-image of success, we talk about how to create a new confident identity. We all got like a character. We're like a character in a movie. And if I asked you, what's the movie of your life like? You could probably answer it. Oh, this person doing this thing, not really living to their potential. But what we need to do is start seeing an image in our mind of us really winning. And we need to start impregnating that into our subconscious mind so that we can start going after our goals. So we can start seeing ourselves as a successful person that we could be and start embodying that. After we do that, we go through the way through fear, which is one of my favorite lessons. It's how to confidently walk through fear without turning back. The biggest problem most people have is fear. And fear leads to procrastination, to be honest. Any negative emotion, fear is one of them, overwhelm, stress. As soon as we run into that, we generally go back to our comfort zone. So I'll talk about how you can experience that negative emotion, but overcome it and move through it towards what it is that you want. We also, in month 3, we go through the key to loving yourself, how to use love of yourself to break through doubt, develop self-care and pride. It's a really important lesson because a lot of people don't actually believe that they deserve to be happy. And that's because they don't really feel that deep sense of love. They've got a lot of shame and guilt locked up within them about past experiences and what they've done so far. So that's a very important lesson. Then week 2 of month 3, we go through the relationships of successful living. Now, this is a really interesting one. So it's how to fall in love with the aspects of life needed to master life successfully. Most people don't actually have a good relationship with things like money or health or even success. And if we're going to be successful, we have to have a good relationship with it. If you imagine, if someone came to you and you started treating them poorly and they're your partner and you're like, you suck, you're always causing me problems. That person wouldn't want to be around you. And it's the same with money. If you're sitting there telling money, you're the problem, you're the source of all my struggles, you're never there when I need you. Money's not going to want to be there because you've got such a poor relationship with it. If you want to have a successful life, there's some key elements that you're going to have to develop a healthy relationship with. And we go through that in that lesson. In week 3 of month 3, we do the impression of increase, which is how to give, make others feel good, and build mutually beneficial relationships. One of the most important lessons I ever learned was that givers gain, and that you should try and always leave everyone with the impression of increase, which is that because they came in contact with you, their life is better. Now, people don't generally remember what you did, but they remember how you made them feel. So if you're the kind of person who makes everyone feel good around you, feel more confident, be proud to be themselves, if you're noticing what they're doing well, it makes them feel good. And it's the easiest way is with just sincere merited praise, just giving compliments. Whenever I can remember all the times when people have given me compliments in the last week. That's because it's so rare and it also feels so good. So if you can become really good at noticing the good in other people and telling them about it, it's going to have a great effect on you. And then the last week is making life work for you. How to take all you've learned and apply it to your life consistently moving forward. There's a lot of information that we cover. So we need to wrap it up in a nice little bow so that we know how to use this information on a day-to-day, weekly basis, monthly basis, yearly basis to achieve the results that we want. So we go through a system in that. Now, here's what's included in this program that I'm running. So it goes for 12 weeks. There's 12 weeks of live 60-minute lesson facilitations, similar to this, where I go through the topic for about 30 minutes, 40 minutes on a call. Then we've got 12 written lessons to study and transform the way that you think that go along with it. So it's just a short piece of writing that goes along with the lesson that you can read. So it's this constant repetition of this new idea that's going to help you transform the way that you're thinking. After that, we've got some worksheets to expand your mind. So you answer these questions that's similar to some of the ones I've presented you with today on a weekly basis to help you uncover more and figure out the plan for moving forward. And then we've got 12 weeks of 90-minute workshops where you get to interact, go through fun exercises, ask questions, and step into the person you want to be. So that's like a workshop that we do on like a Friday morning. And you sit there and I ask you some questions and you get to interact. We do some visualizations. It's a lot of fun. It's a little bit challenging sometimes to go through it because personal growth is a little bit uncomfortable periods. And then as well as that, you get access to the client-only Facebook group, which has got bonus teachings, videos I share, and it's a chance for you to connect with the other people in the course and other like-minded people just in general. You also get a 90-minute one-to-one session with me where we discover your purpose. So we go into depth. A lot of the time with purpose, it's very difficult to discover it by yourself. You need someone to ask you these questions that are really important, like what was the most meaningful experience? Why was it so meaningful? Why do you think that contributed to you enjoying it so much or it being so painful? Whatever it is, you need someone usually to ask you these questions to really illuminate what your purpose is. I wouldn't have found mine without my coach, and it's one of my great joys actually to help people find their purpose. I love it. It's really rewarding for me, but it's also amazing for the clients as well. We also have 4 one-to-one sessions that you get with me throughout the 12 weeks. You get text support through direct messaging with me for the whole time. You get accountability buddies. So throughout the program, you'll be matched up with someone who you have to do tasks, they have to do tasks, and you kind of message each other. Trying to figure out how to work with others is a very important part of success. You need to not be able to thinking that you just have to do it by yourself. So that's a great way for you to start to learn how to work with other people on your success and support others on theirs. And through that, you also get like my own personal mindset shifting tricks and tools to help you form new habits and connect deeply to your purpose. You also get working personally with me for 12 weeks, which is pretty cool to be able to say that you've got someone in your corner who really, truly believes in you, who's bringing out the best in you on a week-to-week basis, and you get that support. When I first had a coach, one of the best things was I didn't really believe in myself, but she did. And because of her belief in me being so strong, I actually got to believe in her belief in me. And it was very, very powerful to have someone in your corner who just keeps pumping you up and telling you, yes, you can do this. Yes, you deserve to be loved. Yes, you deserve to be successful. It's pretty amazing. And then as a bonus, you also get some guided meditations and visualization exercises that I've created myself, which you won't find anywhere else. I don't put them online. They're just the clients. Now, if you take a moment and think, what would my life be like in 12 weeks' time if I really committed to transforming how I think so that I take a hell of a lot more inspired action that would actually get me where I want to be in life? What would your life be like if suddenly you found your purpose and you had some really meaningful goals, you figured out how to accomplish them, you believed in yourself, you knew how to tackle fear, you had a supportive group around you? What would life be like in 12 weeks' time? How much could you accomplish? How different could your life be? And after asking yourself that, ask yourself, am I ready and willing to take my life to the next level? Some people, it's not the time for them and they put it off for a very, very long time, but eventually these things inside of you, your purpose, they will keep coming back to you. And eventually at some point you have to say, I'm ready. I'm willing to make the sacrifices because I really want something meaningful in my life. And when you get to that point, it's a beautiful place to be because then suddenly you're receptive to the good that you want. So some of the feedback that I've had from running the course is, some of these that you can see on your screen right now. And I don't know, I smile when I see them because, I think about the amazing results that I've helped other people achieve. And it's just, I don't know, it's part of my purpose. It's really hard to describe, to be honest. And some of the other ones that I got there, I don't know, it's just something special. I don't know if you've ever had that experience in your life where someone says to you, thank you so much for running a course and helping me achieve this amazing thing that I've been working on for a while or wanted for a while. It's pretty special. I think everyone here's had a moment where someone thanked them because, you did something really cool. that was really helpful. Maybe it was at work. Maybe you gave them an opportunity to be promoted, whatever it was for you. It feels really good when you do something good and you put out what it is that you really want to be doing, and it comes back to you in positive ways. After doing the last course, I got some messages from some of the clients that were their wins, and it was, someone finishing their first mural because they wanted to be an artist, and they actually were a bit scared of the business side of things, but they created their first official invoice, which was pretty cool. It was a big moment. And then got offered some photography gigs as well. And now she's also doing some some festival work with the painting, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so there's some pretty cool wins there. I know, so I'm still smiling about it. It's pretty cool. Now, if you have a look at everything that is being offered here, obviously you can see the prices and you might be getting a bit worried. That's fair enough. The total value of what I've put together is $6,448. Now, obviously I don't charge that. The usual price that I charge is $3,499. But right now, because I'm doing this webinar and I'm starting the next run of the program, decided to slice that as well in half and make the prices $1,998. That's Australian dollars, by the way, just in case you're curious. And that's 3 payments of $712 or 12 weekly payments of $191. So there's a few different payment options there. This program starts in a couple of weeks on a Monday. So there are 10 spots available at that price. And then after that, then I'm going to be charging the normal price. So it is one of those situations where if you get in quick, you kind of do get the better price. Anything over 10 people is kind of a lot of work for me, and I only take them on at the extra price. So yeah, just to realize why I'm doing that. Now, with a lot of online courses, you don't know what you're going to get. And I'm not in this to try and make money off people I'm not serving. That's not my goal at all. I want to provide so much more service and so much more value than I take in terms of monetary compensation, that I've got 3 different guarantees going. So if you're not happy with the program in the first 14 days, full refund, no questions asked. Last year, I had one lady who actually got very sick in about a week and a half, nearly 2-week mark, and she had to pull out. Full refund, no questions asked. She's actually going to be doing the program this time, so the health's improved since then. If after you've completed the program, you haven't been able to get the results you want, I will work with you one-to-one for 2 weeks to make sure you get on the path to where you want to be. That'll be a bonus. So if you go into all the calls and you're participating and you don't get the results, I will work with you afterwards if you want to keep going with it. And if 30 days after the program ends, you haven't seen any results, which is extremely unlikely, you came to all the calls and you did the exercises but still didn't get results, I will give you a full refund. I am assuming all the risk here. So you do not have anything to lose. You really don't. I don't want to make money off anyone who I'm not serving. So if you're not happy with it and you showed up, it hasn't happened yet where someone's had that kind of experience, to be honest. And I'm not sure what would happen in that situation or how it would come about. But it's there just so that you have peace of mind to know that I'm also invested in your success. I want you to win. I don't want you to just turn up and just pass on as another client or something. I want you to send me messages like the ones I got before. That's what really lights me up, and that's why I do this. So the only question left is, are you ready to do this? So if you stayed on this long and you're thinking about it and you've got a bit of a decision to make, don't think about it too long, because inspiration speaks first and your programming second. So if what I've been speaking about seems interesting to you and you really want to give it a crack, trust that. That's the part of you that is seeking expression. It's the part of your higher side. It's not the programmed mind. It's just your intuition. It's what you really want. And sometimes this happens, sometimes it doesn't. If it's not happening for you, that's all good. But don't say no to opportunities and change and challenges and new risks just because you're a bit afraid. I am also, well, obviously, we talked about a lot of stuff today, so you might want to think about it for a second, and that's okay. Now, most of the time we end up talking ourselves out of what we want. Just so you know, I've done that many times where I went to a program and did something and I regretted it for ages later because I didn't do it. And I know I should have. And it's not good to live with regret. I'm going to say that. It's really not, to know that there was an opportunity to make a change and then you didn't. So instead, yeah, take the first step, seeing this is right for you, and book a one-to-one call with me. And we'll have a chat for about an hour for free. We'll go through finding what your purpose is, getting clear on what it is that your goals are. and we'll see if it's a good fit. It's completely no obligation. I do not want to work with people who don't want to work with me. I'm not going to try and convince anyone who doesn't want to work with me to work with me. That's not what I'm about. I'm about finding the people who really want to better themselves and want to make those changes and facilitating that growth for them. So if you're ready to get unstuck and start living, then I'm excited to work with you. Now, thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. You deserve to put yourself first and really give yourself this opportunity to radically change your life. You can use this information, you can join the program, whatever it is that you want, but you deserve to be happy. You're an amazing person with great personality, and you've got so many skills. You've got experiences that you can utilize to live a full life. And I'm just really excited that you guys are here. So thank you for your time. Message me if anything that I've spoken about has come up for you and you want to just have a chat via text. You can do that via social media, David Keith Turner on everything. And if you want to book in that call, go for it.